Recently, I've been obsessed with automotive rendering. In this video, I want to show you how I created this environment and rendered this Mercedes-Benz AMG with Unreal Engine 5. I'll go over everything ranging from how to download and install Unreal Engine, how I prepare the car and bring it into Unreal Engine, both with Datasmith and FBX, how I create the environment and approach lighting, and finally, how I render and color grade my scenes. So let's do it. Using PureRef, I've gathered some images as my reference. This one is my main reference. I'm gonna use it to create the environment and place the car. I will use these as the reference for the materials on the car, and I will use these ones to create different lighting scenarios for my scenes. They include foggy weather, nighttime, polluted weather, sunny daytime, and sunset. Go to unrealengine.com. From the top right, click on download. Scroll down and click on download launcher. Install the launcher and open it. Of course, you should create an account if you haven't already got one. On the left, go to Unreal Engine section. Click on library. Next to engine versions, click on the plus icon, and from here, select the version you want to install. You can select all the way to the first Unreal Engine 4 version. I'm gonna select 5.2. Click on install, then agree with the end user license agreement and select the directory you want to install the engine to by clicking on the browse button. Open options, scroll down, and from the target platforms uncheck everything. We don't need these, and if for some reason we need them in the future, we can always add them to the engine from the Epic Games Launcher. Click apply and then install. Epic Games Launcher will download and install Unreal Engine on your computer. Now you can find the Unreal Engine shortcut on the desktop. Open it. After the Unreal Project browser opens, from the left click on Games, select blank, and from the right enable ray tracing. Choose a location and name for your project and click on Create. Now that Unreal Editor is open, go to File, New Level, select Empty Level and click Create. Then from the top left, save the level and name it whatever you want. Open the Environment Light Mixer from the Window toolbar. Add a skylight, atmospheric light, a sky atmosphere, volumetric cloud, and hide fog. Select your lights in the outliner and put them in a folder and name it Lighting. Then add a post-process volume. Enable infinite extent so that it affects the whole world. And in the exposure section, set the minimum and maximum EV100 to 1. This will turn off the auto exposure or eye adaptation in the level. That's enough for now. Click on selection mode and go to landscape mode. Let me adjust the layout a little bit. The default settings are okay. Create the landscape. We don't need a complex landscape, just need a gentle slope. So I'm gonna form the landscape using the sculpt, smooth, and flatten tools. The sculpt tool is used to, as the name suggests, sculpt the landscape. It allows you to raise or lower the height of the landscape height map. Hold the left click on the mouse to raise the landscape and hold shift while doing it to lower the height map of the landscape. The Smooth tool helps you to smooth the height map, getting rid of jagged artifacts, and the Flatten tool flattens the landscape to the level that is currently under the mouse. Okay, that's good. Now I'm gonna assign this Megascans material to the landscape. I will put its ID in the description. I don't need to use a complicated multi-layer landscape material because I'm gonna fill the surface with stones and pebbles. Before moving on to the next section, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new Unreal Engine tutorials I'm planning to put here. I've downloaded the car from CG Trader. I'll put the link in the description. You can download the FBX or Blender version. I've downloaded the FBX file. Firstly, I import it into 3ds Max and delete all the unnecessary stuff. Let's check the model. I'll then hide everything except the wheels and attach everything to the tire except the brake caliper. Then I rename all the parts. I attach the caliper to the tire in a parent-child hierarchy fashion, and then do this for all the wheels. After that, I will set the pivot of each tire to its center, and reset their X-form from here. Then I'll hide the wheels and rename all the other objects in the scene. I will export the car using datasmith. You can download datasmith for the software you are using from the link in the description. It's free and really easy to install. I'll select all the objects. From here, I'll select datasmith and click here to show the full ribbon. Then click on export selected to export it. I usually import the model into Unreal Engine and check it. In order to be able to import the datasmith file, make sure the plugin is enabled. Restart the engine for the changes to take effect. Then from the quickly add to the project button, I can import the file. I'm just gonna need the geometry. Click on import and wait for it to be imported. It will be automatically added to the current level. I'm gonna move it to where I can see it better. If I find any issues, I'll edit and re-import it. In this case, the body and some other parts of the car don't have their UVs unwrapped. I can see that because it is not showing the default grid material correctly. So I'm gonna spend some time in 3ds Max, unwrap all the parts and re-import it. Okay, so I updated my 3ds Max to the 2024 version, but the datasmith plugin doesn't support this version yet, so I'm gonna export it using the FBX format. It's okay because I can show you the FBX format export as well. I can export it by going to File, Export, Export selected, or I can use the FBX exporter for Unreal Engine script made by Tom Shannon. You can download it from the link in the description, then install it from the scripting menu. Run a script. You can add it to your toolbar from Customize User Interface. Go to Toolbars and from the TS Tools category, add it to your toolbar. Select all the objects, open the script, uncheck all of these, select an export path and click on Export Selected Objects. After the export process is finished, go to Unreal Engine, right click in the empty space of the content browser, select import, select all the meshes you want to import and click on open. In the FBX import options window, you just need to change 4 things. Disable generate missing collision, open the advanced menu and disable generate lighting UVs. Then scroll down to the material section. Here, change the material import method to do not create material and disable import textures. Click on import all to complete the import process. Save all the new assets. Now I can drag and drop all the objects in the scene, and as you can see, it's been properly unwrapped. Now let's get to the materials. For the materials, I use the Automotive materials pack. It's provided by Epic and is completely free. I'll put the link in the description. For the glass material, I use my own custom glass materials. You can download it for free on my website. Link in the description. I also have 2 videos in which I explain how to set it up and use it with both Lumen and Path Tracer. I'll also leave the link to those videos in the description. Let's first organize the outliner. The rest is just assigning the right material to the right object on the car. I have my references here on the other monitor and keep checking it. Okay, after assigning the materials, I'm gonna place the car where I want. But before that, I want to show you how to change the pivot of the wheels so we can control them better in the next sections. As you can see, right now I can't rotate the wheels as I want. I can change the pivot from the modeling mode here. Select the object you want, select pivot and set it to center. Click on accept and now that's better. Do it for all the wheels and their calipers. Then go to the outliner and drag and drop each caliper to its wheel. Now I can rotate the wheel and the caliper will rotate with it. I've added an empty actor to the scene and made all the car parts its children. This way, I have more control over moving, rotating, and scaling the car. I'll place the car where I want on the slope and rotate the wheels just because I think it looks better this way. I'll then add a cine camera actor from the quickly add to the project button on the top of the viewport, cinematic. Click on perspective and select the cine camera actor to see through it. Then move around until you find a good view. You can change the viewport type to cinematic by clicking on perspective and selecting cinematic viewport. I'm gonna have to select the cine camera actor again. It will give you some additional controls like sequencer controls on the bottom of the viewport and composition overlays on the top right of the viewport. Some of the camera details I change are current focal length, current aperture, and manual focus distance under focus settings. Here are what I came up with: 50 for the focal length, 2.8 for current aperture, and I used the eyedropper to set the focus distance. Then I checked the draw debug focus plane to see the focus plane and move it if needed. After some final tweaks, I can say that I'm happy with my composition. Then I will right click in the content browser and from cinematics select the level sequence. Open it and dock it next to the content browser. Add the cine camera actor to the sequencer. I want to add a little bit of animation to the camera. Let's first change the layout a little bit. I will change the sequencer to 24 FPS and change the show time as to seconds. I will add a keyframe for the transform of the camera in the beginning of the sequencer, and I will go to the end of the sequence, move the camera to where I want, and add a keyframe in here too. Let's play back the sequence. After some trial and error, I can say I'm satisfied with the result. Now it's time to add some details to the scene. The good thing about placing the camera first is that we don't need to worry about the stuff that are out of the view, and we can put all the focus on the things we see through the camera. Let's first add the rocks and pebbles underground. For that, I've selected this mesh from the Quixel Megascans library. You can download it by searching its ID in Quixel Bridge. I'll put it in the description. So, I can hand place it all over the landscape. But that would take a lot of time, so I'm gonna use the foliage tool to do it. Click on selection mode and go to foliage mode. Add the mesh to where it says drop foliage here. I want to paint it in 3 different scales: large rocks, medium stones, and small pebbles. I'll start with the small pebbles as they will be all over the ground. Set the scale to something around 0.1. A minimum of 0.08 and a maximum of 0.1 works just fine. And now you can use either the paint mode to scatter the mesh or the single mode. In this case, I prefer to use the single mode as it gives me more control. I will click wherever I want to place the pebbles. After that, I'll change the scale to something around 0.2 and add some stones. Then I'll change the scale to around 0.5 and add some larger rocks. These ones I'll put in the background to fill any empty space I have left in the view. I can check the camera view from time to time to check how it looks from the camera. Okay, after spending some time on it, I can say that I'm happy with the result. Now let's add some foliage. As you can see in the reference, we don't need a lot of foliage. I selected this from the Quixel Megascans. I'll put its ID in the description. I'll select 2 of the variations from the foliage folder, variation 13 and 14. Then I'll go to foliage mode and add the ones I selected. Let's add a little bit of variation in the scale. For this one, I'll change the maximum to 2.5, and for this one, I'll set the minimum to 2.5 and the maximum to 4. First I'll activate them, then I'll use the single mode to scatter them. And that looks good. For the background, I'm gonna need a mountain, power towers, and wind turbines. I've downloaded the power tower and the wind turbine from Sketchfab for free. And for the mountain, I've used this Megascans rock formation and just scaled it. It looks convincing as the mountain. I'll put the link to all of them in the description. I imported the power tower and the wind turbine, created and assigned their materials, and placed them where I wanted them to be according to the reference. After placing all of them, I can see that the environment looks a lot better. Now I'm going to work on the lighting. But before that, I want to show you what we can achieve with Variant Manager. I've created 5 different lighting scenarios for this scene. Let me show you all of them with the Variant Manager. The Variant Manager is an easy to learn tool for those like me who don't like to get into the programming side of Unreal. I can also change the color of the car. Please let me know in the comments if you want me to create a video on how I use the Variant Manager in my projects. It's time to finalize our lighting. As you saw, I've created 5 different lighting scenarios for this environment. I've created all of them by tweaking the directional light, the skylight, the sky atmosphere, the volumetric cloud, the exponential height fog, and the post-process volume. I've provided a free project including all these lightings and the Variant Manager on my website. You can download and study it to see how I've set up the lights. While there, you can also download my other free assets like my master material, my landscape material, alpha brushes, and more. Also, like this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new Unreal Engine tutorials I'm planning to put here. I've added these rec lights based on the lighting as well. They are to better demonstrate the car. You can find them in the lighting project. I've placed a rec light for each side of the car and 4 others for each wheel. I've also changed the lighting channel for these ones to channel 1 and enabled channel 1 lighting for the wheels. This way they don't affect the other parts of the car and the environment. In this part, I decided to add some dirt to the bottom of the car so it blends better with the environment. I used mud decals from the Quixel library. I'll put their ID in the description. Also, I tweaked the tire material and added dirt to it. The tire material has a dust parameter, but it adds the dust to the top of the tire by default. But I want the whole tire to be dirty. Open the parent through the tire material, find MF imperfections and double click on it to open it. Then disconnect this and connect the dust intensity parameter. Save the material and wait for the shaders to compile. Now change the dust intensity value to something like 10. It looks better. Also, I changed the wind turbines to blueprint and added rotation to them. I also added some power transmission cables and a road sign. I'll put their links in the description. I've already created the sequencer. I just edited it and changed the duration from 5 to 10 seconds. Now I want to add some shake to the camera animation. I think that will make it look better. I've already created some camera shake blueprints. You can download them from my website and use them. So let's show you how to create one. Right click in the content browser and select blueprint class. Down here search for camera shake and select camera shake base. Name it and open it, then close it and open it again. This UI is easier to work with. Under root shake patterns, select Perlin noise. You can modify its settings from here. Now let's add it to the sequencer. Here I'll click on the plus track icon, and under camera shake I'll select the camera shake I want. Then I will edit it to encompass the duration of the animation. Here is the result. Now I want to render the scene, and for that I will use the movie render queue. Go to settings, plugins, and search for movie render queue. Make sure that it's turned on. You're gonna have to restart your project if you haven't turned it on. After that, go to your sequencer and click here. The movie render queue window will open. Click on here where it says unsaved config, and the new window will open. You can change the settings for your render from here, add things like anti-aliasing, console variables, and game overrides, or change the export format. You can even export multiple formats at the same time. Down here you can select your renderer. In the output settings, you can change things like where your render will be saved, the file name format, and the output resolution. Up here you can save your settings as a preset, or you can load a preset if you have it saved before. You can download my presets from the link in the description. I usually do a couple of test renders with the low quality preset, and then when I'm happy with the result, I render the scene using the high quality preset. After selecting the preset, select accept. Make sure everything is saved, then click on render local and wait for the render to finish. After the render is finished, it's time to finalize it in DaVinci Resolve. Click here to open where the image sequence has been saved. I'll select everything and drag it into DaVinci Resolve into the media pool. Right click on it, and in the clip attributes, make sure the FPS is the same as the FPS you rendered out of Unreal Engine. Create a new timeline like this, double click on it to open it. Drag and drop the animation into the timeline. Then go to the color tab. This is where the magic happens. I won't go through my process. It's nothing complicated, just some basic nodes. Let me enable the nodes one by one to demonstrate my process. As you can see, I tried to add something to the render gradually. And in the end, I'm happy with the result, before and after. When I'm done, I'll render the animation from the output tab. So that's it for this video. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it's been helpful. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new tutorials I'm planning to put here. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Now, with all of that being said, I'll see you in the next one.